Sinnoh, a vast ancient region, and a thoroughly inconvenient place for anything in a hurry. Between towering mountains, dense forests, and unpredictable weather, some Pokémon have learned a very important lesson. Faster isn't always better. Turtwig begins life inside an egg. No drama, no urgency, and certainly no rush to hatch. Turtwig eggs are typically found in rich, damp soil, quiet places, far from disturbance. In other words, from the very beginning, this is a Pokémon that dislikes being interrupted. When Turtwig finally emerges, one thing becomes immediately clear. It isn't going anywhere. While other Pokémon might sprint, leap, or hunt, Turtwig adopts a different strategy. Standing still, the small sprout on its head absorbs sunlight. Why go looking for food when the sun can come to you? Turtwig's shell isn't just for protection. It carries soil, moss, and occasionally, yesterday's leaves. This gives Turtwig the appearance of a creature that hasn't bathed in quite some time. But surprisingly, this is all part of the plan. Sinnoh is not always kind. Heavy rain, strong winds, even earthquakes. When conditions worsen, most Pokémon flee. Turtwig does not. Instead, it does what it does best. It stays even more still. Over time, Turtwig evolves into Gradual. Larger, heavier, and slower. A tree begins growing on its back. No one knows exactly when this happens, mostly because no one is watching closely. With its increased size, Gradual unintentionally becomes an excellent resting place. Insects move in, small creatures take shelter. Gradual doesn't object. In fact, it may not have noticed. And then, things escalate. Gradual evolves into Torterra, a truly massive Pokémon, carrying a full-grown tree and several large rocks. At this point, it becomes difficult to tell where the Pokémon ends, and the landscape begins. For Torterra, life is best enjoyed in the slow lane. They spend the majority of their days resting, and doing very little else. Conserving energy is a time-tested strategy, especially when you weigh roughly the same as a small hill. Eventually, however, staying in one place loses its appeal. It's time for a change of pace. Rarely seen in motion, groups of Torterra are often mistaken for moving forests. This male, however, is especially fond of his current lounging spot. Still, water is important. There should be a lake somewhere beyond the trees, not too far. He'll get there. Eventually. Of course, when a Torterra suddenly starts moving, not everyone is pleased. Some residents living on his back lose their footing. For them, getting home will take some effort. For everyone else, it's going to be a bumpy ride. After several hours, this determined Torterra finally reaches the lake. Fresh water. At last. But he isn't the only one seeking refreshment. A female approaches. Sensing a potential mate, he suddenly springs to life, with a rare burst of agility. An unusual sight. Unfortunately, the female seems uninterested. And giving chase is far too much effort. This time, it doesn't work out, but that's all right. Another nap sounds far more appealing. After all, there's no reason to rush. Perhaps, slow and steady will pay off someday.